Mike Aulby had a spectacular year bowling in 1985. He was the PBA Player of the Year and won a record $201,000. One of the tournaments he won last year was right here in Garden City, New York. But in 1986, he has yet to win any titles. Aulby hopes to get back on the winning track this afternoon by defending his title, but he's going to have to win 4 matches to do it. ABC Sports presents live for the 25th consecutive year, the Professional Bowlers Tour. In our first match, our number 5 qualifier, last year's top bowler and leading money winner, Mike Aulby. He meets Doug Wallace, a third-year pro, bowling in his first championship round. Qualifying third, Peter Hakem, the local favorite from Forest Hills, New York, seeking his first tour victory. The number 2 position belongs to 23-year-old Ron Palumbi Jr., whose only tournament victory came 2 years ago. The winner then will meet the tournament leader, 30-year-old Storm DeVincent, seeking his first tour victory. All today on the Professional Bowlers Tour. And not that far from the heart of Manhattan is Garden City, Long Island. Since 1963. We have been coming back to this spot for great competition among the professional bowlers of the world. Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Chris Schenkel. We welcome you to our 14th telecast in a series of 16. Today, we have 3 right-handers and 2 left-handers. The one left-hander is a non-winner. He's a local hero, Peter Hakem. Now, the other left-hander is the Bowler of the Year in 1985, over $200,000 earned. Mike Aulby of Indianapolis, Indiana. He is also the defending champion. Last year, in his 6 victories, he had to win 4 games to win the Denver Open. He did it. Can he do it today? There's some hungry bowlers ahead of him. Speaking of hunger, here's a guy that just loves television and professional bowling. Nelson Burton Jr. Bo, welcome.
Thank you, Chris. Well, I think you said it right. Inexperienced is our field today, but we have the top guy in the number 1 match, Mike Aulby, $200,000 last year, Bowler of the Year, the defending champion. He's the man to beat. But the real story this week has been the scoring. After 14 weeks on ABC's Pro Bowlers Tour, this week turned out to be the highest scoring of the year. Our tournament leader, Storm DeVincent, averaged 253 in one of his 8-game blocks, 235 for the whole tournament, 42 games. We had 6 perfect games so far in the tournament. And I say so far because in this bowling center in 1978, the last legitimate shot at a 300 game was Johnny Petraglia. He had 11 in a row before he got an 8 count for a 298 game. Now we have a good shot at somebody picking up that 100,000 for a 300 game today. But one thing is really for sure, we'll have a lot of strikes, a lot of exciting action. We're ready to go, Chris.
All right, and the money at stake today in winning the Long Island Open is $18,000, $9,500, $7,500, $4,500 to the man that doesn't finish on top here in our very first game. Doug Wallace, rookie, his first television appearance ever. This 25-year-old, Portland, Oregon, is going against the defending champion of this event and Bowler of the Year, Mike Aulby. And Mike is a little frustrated. This is only his 2nd championship round appearance of this year after his great 1985. 26 years old.
Bye-bye.
There's 1. And of course, as you all know, you need 12 of those in order to bowl a perfect game. And as Bo alluded to the 100,000, we've waited for years to give it away. And I can't think of a better day, Bo.
Good chance today, Chris. They can throw a lot of strikes. The reason the lanes score so high is the pin carry is almost automatic. When they hit the 1-3 or 1-2 pocket, a strike more often than not.
Doug Wallace, the man with an unusual style, hooking the ball into the pocket. The style works, Nelson.
A free spirit, Chris. He just kind of walks up there with the ball, drops it by his side, opens up that hand at the top of the swing. Good knee bend on its pivot step, then just unleashes that ball at the bottom of the swing. Starts at about the 25th board on the lane, 39 being across the lane, out to about the 5th board, back into the pocket.
Here he is, 5'8", 175 pounds. Outwardly, we would have to say he's the loosest bowler we've had all year, but inwardly, I know he is a little uptight, but he is strung. He has doubled here in our very first match. Doug Wallace and now Mike Aulby.
That's what makes big scores when you hit around the pocket. He hit the 1-3 very high, caved in the strike, has started with a double.
He's in there with a double. A man on this championship pair averaging 256 in 2 games is often winging. Here's a replay.
Mike Aulby, with that smooth style that we saw so often last year in his 6 victories, lays the ball down very softly at the foul line. Good extension, nice follow through, plays the big hook, ball into the 1-2 pocket. The match is all even after 2 frames.
Young man that was the Professional Bowlers Association Rookie of the Year in 1979, 2-time PBA national champion, and only 26. He has 3 in a row. Good Garden City Bowl. New York's Long Island. From the front, this view.
The angle played by Mike Aulby, sliding right down the center of the lane over the second arrow, out to about the 5th board. Now watch his reaction as he loves it, that light hit. He starts with 3 in a row. Doug Wallace has 2 in a row.
Trails by 10, can't even it up with a strike here. He's on the right lane of this championship pair. Beautiful.
As the players say in the paddock, what a train this player throws. Look at the angle of attack. The ball drives through the 1-3 pins, drives out to 5, 8, and 9. Tremendous hook. 3 pound, 6, 7, and 8 ounce pins we're using this week, the standard pins that we always use. But the players can get a tremendous angle of attack on that pocket, and this is the type of scoring we've seen all week long. Both players perfect through 3.
Last year, as a part-time player, was 7th in the Austin Open. And it's a 6-pin.
All right, you see the ball crossing over the left side of the head pin and just pushing out all the pins but the 6-pin. He almost gets a break and gets a strike on this hit. See the 3-pin just sliding by it. Another reason the scores are so high, the splits are not there when you hit high in the pocket.
And the door has been opened for the defending champion, Mike Aulby, after stringing 3, an open frame for Doug Wallace.
The shortcoming of Doug Wallace, the big strike ball, but the inability to make a very simple spare has put him into a position where he trails by 13 pins. We'll be back after this message.
Just because you've washed your car doesn't mean you're finished. After each wash, you need some Armor All. On the dash, the bumper, and especially the tires. After all, when you're in love, what's a few extra minutes? Armor All. It's the finishing touch every time you wash your car.
In my line of work, you get to appreciate a good, solid defense. A defense that works hard to protect you. One that won't let you down. That's why I use English leather deodorant. No fancy gimmicks, no fancy promises. Just a good, solid defense. So no matter how rough things get, I know I'm protected. English leather deodorant, a good, solid defense.
Give me that.
Do you know what kills your muffler? Rust. Rust that can start on the inside and eat its way through. Now there's a muffler that helps stop this problem. The Walker Advantage, with a revolutionary rust inhibitor, Absorbite, that actually absorbs internal moisture. The inside of this muffler was not protected with Absorbite. This muffler was. You can see the difference. The Walker Advantage. It puts rust at a disadvantage.
Warranted at service outlets and auto parts stores where you see this sign.
Mark Breland, undefeated as a pro. His only amateur loss was to Darrell Anthony. Now they meet again live. Plus the World Whitewater Canoeing Championships on ABC's Wide World of Sports next.
One of my all-time favorite champions from St. Louis, Nelson, Dick Weber. A winner right here.
1976, Dick Weber won one of his 29 national championships. And here's a man who someday may also perform that feat of 29 to 30 national championships, another Hoosier, Mike Aulby.
Pete Weber, Dick's son, finished 35th. Oh, we've still got the possibility.
What a break!
And you need those. 4 in a row for Mike Aulby.
Watch the action, the head pin and the 3-pin. There it is. He just nicks the 3-pin. It looks like it's going to stand. Over it goes. Aulby keeps his streak alive, and that's the kind of hits you need to shoot the big game. That 1 or 2 off shots, get a break on him. It's kept Aulby's string alive. He leads by 23 pins. More importantly, he has 4 in a row to start the game.
To reality, a round of applause. 5th frame, leaving the 3-6 on the left lane.
The championship pair for both players, both right-handers and left-handers. The left-hand lane, as Tammy Aulby looks on, hooks a little bit more. Mike just sent that ball wide and left the 3-6 a simple spare to maintain a 21-pin lead.
Had a few anxious moments at the line. He's patting the solar plexus. Well, perhaps the butterflies are gone now. In the case of non-winner Doug Wallace of Portland, Oregon, who up to now, as a 3-year member of the PBA, has earned $15,988. Interesting style, interesting young man. The great hook stroke, the hook shot. We asked him earlier what he must learn to become more consistent on the tour.
Well, Bo, I think it's very important for me to pick up my spares. I've always had trouble with them. Staying firm in crucial situations. I have a habit of letting up on the ball a little bit and setting it a little short. Spares most important, though, for me, I think.
There you see the open frame in the 4th, coming right back with a strike, now the 6th frame. And a high hit, leaving the 3-6-9-10.
Well, he had trouble making the 6-pin, and once again he goes very high right here, just drives through the pins and leaves the 3, 6, and 9 pins. The 10-pin is the key pin to carry out.
Walter Ray Williams, our only 2-time winner this year. He finished 31st in the Long Island Open.
And you see the style of Doug Wallace, that extreme left-hand side of the approach, using all the lane, sliding, throwing the ball over the 4th arrow, sending it out to that 3-6-9 spare, which he converted. But here's Aulby up 6 frame, 21-pin lead.
Spare working for Aulby. The winner of our first game will meet Peter Hakem, a non-winner from Forest Hills, New York.
No doubt about this strike. Solid in the 1-2 pocket, driving all 10 pins in the pin.
And Hakem off to our right, if you hear pin fall, is practicing, waiting to meet the winner. And he's practicing a lot. Very organized young man. Great hockey fan. Seven pin.
First time a player has hit the pocket today and has not come away with a strike. Wallace has hit the pocket four times in his 6 frames. Aulby has hit the pocket 6 out of 7 shots, has 5 strikes to show for him.
Garden City Bowl, just adjacent to historical Mitchell Field here on Long Island. All right. Continuing to mark is Mike Aulby of Indianapolis, Indiana, leading by 21 pins. This is our first game. We're live from Long Island, and we'll be back.
Every bottle of Miller comes with a clear promise.
Miller's made the American way.
A promise that Miller beer has been brewed naturally.
Born and brewed in the USA.
And above all, a promise of purity. A promise that Miller beer contains no additives, no preservatives.
Miller's made the American way.
Miller beer, purity you can see, quality you can taste.
If you expect an engine to start quick, work hard, and last long, remember, the easiest job a Briggs & Stratton engine will ever do is mow your lawn. Ask for Briggs & Stratton, the power in power equipment.
When this 29-year-old bowls in the next game, you will hear some rooting because he's a hometown favorite. Peter Hakem, a lefty, and he continues to practice. All right, Mark Breland, undefeated in 10 fights, going against the man, the only man to defeat him, in the amateur ranks. And that's going to be a neat fight. Anthony has a chance.
Well, I don't know, the revenge factor, Chris. Anthony, granted a couple years ago, could stay with Breland, but Breland will put him away early this time.
Okay. All right, and you know, whitewater canoeing, which I first saw at the Munich Olympic Games. Is that ever exciting? Watch it today in Wide World. Just as you watched another strike by hooking Doug Wallace.
We're seeing a lateral attack on the pins today. Wallace from the right side, Aulby from the left. The extreme sharp angle towards the pocket rewards you with a strike every time that you can get in there. Once again, Wallace is a dangerous type player to compete against, Chris, because he can throw strikes at any time, and he's just a free spirit out there. He can beat himself, but then he can throw 5 or 6 in a row to close the gap.
Aulby not looking. And the man that sold shares in himself to get out on the tour, had a little expense money in his pocket, left the 10 pin.
Solid 10. Ball breaks in. The 6 pin is airborne as it goes around the 10, and that was a key shot for Doug Wallace to get back in the match. He must convert this spare to trail by still 21 pins through 8 frames.
He makes it look easy. Sort of sits set on that approach and fires away, and here's the methodical Mike Aulby, who led the first 2 rounds, and then a winner this year, Del Warren, followed by Ron Palumbi, who will be bowling 2 games from now. And then the tournament leader, Storm DeVincent, took over in the 5th and 6th.
18 games of qualifying, 24 match play, 42 in all.
A 7.
Similar shot to what Doug Wallace just suffered through in the previous frame, the solid 7 for the left-hander. Aulby had one problem with his bowling 2 or 3 years ago, and it was the inability to make the 7 pin. He missed it twice in a championship match in the Grand Prix in Paris, France, 1982. Ultimately cost him the title. He's worked on it, and I expect him to make it here in this frame.
Seems to be an era of a collecting craze, and we mentioned Mike being a hockey fan. His main interest in collecting are official hockey pucks. So word gets out, and the hockey players all over North America make sure that they add to Mike's collection. Interesting guy.
Aulby will be going to the Islanders game, which is held at Nassau County Coliseum, which is nearby, and you'll hopefully see an Islanders victory.
And the oohs and ahs of the crowd told you the story. A little audio of what was left down there.
You won't have to worry about a hockey victory tonight, but he's got to worry about his right now. He had this match well in hand, and all of a sudden, an errant shot right here. He leaves the 1-3-7-9, the washout. And if he doesn't convert this, he's opened the door for Wallace to take the lead in the 9th and 10th frames.
And it is just that. An open frame coming at the worst time. Something Mike certainly didn't want, giving him 192 through the ninth. And now with a spare up, shooting in the ninth frame, things are tightening up, Nelson.
Doug Wallace right now going at a 2:07 pace, trails by 5 pins. If he can strike here in the ninth and the first one in the 10th, he will have the lead. 3 strikes in a row, and he would shut out Mike Aulby.
There's one. No, he opened in the 4th frame. It almost seemed like that was the end. Not so.
You see the profile of Doug Wallace. He has not missed striking on this right-hand lane. He struck in the 1st, 3rd, 5th, 7th, and here again in the 9th as you see the ball start down the center of the lane, out to the 3rd board, and just pulverize those pins as he comes into the pocket. But here is the lane that will determine victory or defeat for Doug Wallace today. Trails by 5. If he strikes on this ball, he'll have the lead for the first time in the match.
The 2-4 standing on the left lane. Portland, Oregon's Doug Wallace.
Wallace with a conversion here and a strike would finish with 2:07. Aulby would need a spare and a 6 count to win the match. A bit discouraged, Doug Wallace. His inability to strike on the left-hand lane. He struck there in the 2nd frame, missed a spare in the 4th, missed again in the 6th, 8th, and in the 10th frame, failed to strike again, has opened the door for Aulby. Aulby, a simple task of a spare, will win the match.
So Doug Wallace, hoping to get his first victory here in the Long Island Open, has shot a 2:07. Now it's up to Aulby. It's in his left hand.
Aulby has been in the pocket every time on this right-hand lane. Strikes in the 2nd, 4th, 6th, solid 7 in the 8th. Any kind of mark here in the 10th wins the match.
Not over yet. That is a 3-pin.
Aulby sends it wide. Not a very good shot. You never get defensive on a professional bowler's tour. Leaves the 3-pin, a spare that his brother-in-law Steve Cook missed at the True Value Open last year to donate a potential title. Aulby needs this to go on in the next match.
All right. Tension-packed first game when you have a 12-time champion, defending champion, bowler of the year. Had his hands full with Doug Wallace.
Graphic tells a story. 6 pins, he wins the match. 5's a tie. Anything less would probably be in the gutter.
Here it is. Got 9. Mike Aulby now will go against the local favorite, Peter Hakem, and that should be another tester. 2:11 to 2:07 is the final score of the first game. So Mike Aulby moves up against Peter Hakem. Don't go away. That match next.
The Professional Bowlers Tour, today coming from New York. This ABC Sports exclusive is brought to you by Miller Beer. Miller made the American way since 1855. By Armor All, it's the finishing touch every time you wash your car. And by the Gates Rubber Company, celebrating 75 years of excellence and quality automotive parts. We'll be back with more bowling after these commercial messages and a word from your local station.
At Midas, we've always been proud of the job we do. A lot of our new customers are referred to us by our old ones.
Howdy, boys.
Welcome back, Mr. Creedy. You see, good service, good prices. The word gets around. Now when you have any Midas shock or strut installed, we'll install the second one for half price. You can feel the difference they make on your car.
Take it to Midas.
And in your wallet.
Take it to someone you trust.
Now, for the power computer user who demands performance, Radio Shack introduces the Tandy 3000, the more powerful and more affordable IBM PC AT compatible. Here's the power to manage your business, utilize computer networking, or create a multi-user system. The Tandy 3000, the power to put you in command. Tandy, clearly superior. In business, for business. Only at Radio Shack Computer Centers.
The Man with the Golden Gun, Sunday.
And here at the Garden City Bowl, the defending champion Mike Aulby just did it by 4 pins, 211 to Doug Wallace's 207. Mike with 5 strikes, Wallace with 7. Now, from Forest Hills, New York, it is Hakem that's going to meet Aulby. And right now we're going to meet the question in asking Bo which colleges offer bowling scholarships or financial aid. Nelson?
Well, Chris, there are a number of schools around the country, 15 in all, that have volunteered the information to give some sort of financial aid and or scholarships to the youth around the country. And we'll just roll that list through there for you. Indiana State University from your area, Chris, is one of them. You see a few. Robert Morris, we have some great players come out of Robert Morris. Don Janelle, who won this tournament. St. Louis Community College in St. Louis, Flow Valley, my good friend Bill Miller there. And West Texas State and Wichita State's 2 of the top teams in the country right now.
All right, so if you have a question you'd like Bo to answer, send it to Ask Bo, Post Office Box 1986, Radio City Station, New York, New York, 10101. Okay, now the question is, can non-winner Peter Hakem, who has his hometown fans behind him, he is seated now, 29 years old, can he take the measure of this man, Mike Aulby? Won the first game over Doug Wallace, 211, 207. Aulby first. And immediately, it's the 4, 6, 7, 10.
Aulby, being the smart player he is, he'll just try to go for 2 pins here and not waste the count. The 4, 6, 7, 10. It's makeable, I'd say. The odds maybe 1,000 to 1. Try to slide one of the pins over. But Aulby in the early going will just go for 2 pins.
So that's kind of 8. Open frame for Aulby, and now we get a look at the 5'11", 175-pound Peter Hakem, first career appearance in the championship round. He's bowled in 18 PBA national tournaments in his 9-year career, cashed in 3 of them. From the left side. Listen to those hometown fans. Their hero comes through in the first frame.
Peter Hakem in his first shot in championship round just rips that 5-pin over into the 6-10 area. Starts out with a strike. He's got to love the reaction. Watch this. Come on, ball. Good start. In the match play against the 42 games